we are going to respond to what they do.
Eagles do not respond.
Our enemies are working together.
Come on, we're gonna get sued here.
How do you have a rock in the middle of your dojo?
You just don't want to admit there's always been a little Cobra Kai in you. You miss this, don't you? Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Attention, students! You heard your sensei up top. Snap to attention, because in this dojo, we are about to conquer our fear and talk one of our favorite topics of all time, Cobra Kai, Season 4, a new season on Netflix. Here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, Colin LaRusso.
Sensei Mikey Lawrence.
Cobra Kai.
I like it. J. Cobra Kai. A man can't Cobby can't fight, you know.
That's right.
The mongoose is gone, Jacob.
That's right. The mongoose.
Oh, I forgot. I am the mongoose, of course.
You are the mongoose,
my karate
of course.
nickname.
Mm-hmm. Can
Everyone's
defeat
gotta have
cobras, right? I remember the
right.
metaphor, right?
Yeah.
So we're back. We're talking more Karate Kid. I never imagined, after doing the original Karate Kid episode, my passion project, as it were, that we would be back not only to talk a fourth season of this, but it's our third, I think, addressment of the Karate Kid franchise on the show.
Wow.
Our third Miyagi-verse episode.
Yeah, the Miyagi verse. And it's fitting, you know, normally we do the Watches on the 10th episode, and this episode 180. We did it earlier because of the whole Lord of the Rings. So this is talking about something from the 80s, from the 180. Yeah. It still kind of fits, I guess. But
Sure.
if I was to pick one intellectual property from the 80s that not only would be running in 2022, 21, you know, but would also be one of the best written shows on TV, in my opinion, I would not have selected the Karate Kid universe. And I'm blown away and excited to talk about season 5 with you guys.
Things. And exactly like you're saying, there isn't a Street Fighter TV show that we are breaking down. You know, we did a dumb Mortal Kombat movie that like every few years they're like, is this going to work? Is this okay that we're doing this? But Karate Kid is this thing. They're like, oh yeah, that of course that makes sense as a TV show.
Yeah. And it's just mind blowing that we have 4, we're going into 5, and it just, who knows when it's going to stop. I mean, this universe that there's so much more to tap into, and they tap into so much in this season, which I loved it. Guys, did you love no spoilers right now? We're going to jump into spoilers after the intro, but what did you think, general impressions, season 5, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a test.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think maybe not the best season of the whole show, but I do think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, not to bury the lead, but it certainly might not be the best season, but it has our
they're
favorite
expanding
character.
Yeah, they're expanding the world. They're expanding the cast. A lot of new characters and whatnot.
I want to know our rankings by the end of it too. So, and normies, I'll just do our history real quick up top. Mike said this is our third Miyagi thing that we're covering here. Second go Cobra Kai. Guys, the timeline of that being, I wasn't really into talking about Karate Kid. Jacob, you had watched Cobra Kai, but Mike wanted to do it in what we were talking about, your fan February, right? It was your choice to do for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, let's talk the Karate Kid movies. I was like, I don't know. Is there enough material after you guys just did a Cobra Kai episode? Let me listen to your guys' Cobra Kai episode. So since that episode,
Yes.
watched it all, watched those movies. We did that Karate Kid thing. If you go back and listen to that Karate Kid episode, I'm sure on some watches I've mentioned, I've watched the rest. But if you just do these as sequel episodes for these threes, this is the first time I've come in to talk Cobra Kai with you guys. You know, you
Wow.
did that whole last episode just by yourselves.
You
That's
caught up
right.
on the whole show since then.
We're here.
And it's crazy because it started, it was just, the creators were just huge fans of the franchise. It started on YouTube, wasn't a huge hit. It was YouTube Red when they were trying to do like a streaming service.
As
Wasn't a huge
normie,
hit.
I'm coming in when it's a Netflix hit, when
Yeah,
it's coming
Netflix
to the masses,
acquires
Jacob.
them, and now it's, everybody loves it. I think it was like probably the most watched thing on Netflix when it came out. So
I think
It was number
so.
1 that week. It hit number
Yeah.
1. Cobra Kai is one of their
Wow.
biggest hits. It's incredible. And what's crazy is as we've gone on, 4 seasons in now, there's no stone left unturned. They're just slowly bringing in the whole universe. I mean, we had Chosen last week and the return to Okinawa and all of that stuff. And it's just incredible that there's not one character. It literally is like the Marvel universe. Every character from the movies at one point shall return. And there's one big one. And I think we should just jump into it. Season 4 of Cobra Kai right after this. Normies Like Us.
We're back. We're in the dojo. We are talking the one, the only, the Karate Kid. We're down in Mr. Miyagi, unfortunately. But like you guys were saying, I mean, first to even just set up this show, what a world, what an amount of characters. What just like we just they call it the All Valley, and gang, we go through the whole valley.
And everybody in the valley loves karate. It's the number one thing to talk about, thing to do in the valley is just go to karate lessons, go to the tournament. The whole valley's into it, of course. Well, and I know because I live in the valley, so of course
yes, and Jacob,
also
as two boys who live in the valley, how have we never come across on like a telephone pole like a flyer that says the All Valley Karate Tournament?
Right.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Well, I do drive by some of those McDojos, as they're called. I think there's one on Burbank Avenue. I always think, man, that's. I wonder if that's like the real Cobra Kai right there.
The real Cobra Kai is on Lancashire, where they filmed it, and I've visited it on a pilgrimage, as I mentioned on the Karate Kid episode. It's one of my favorite films. It was a Taekwondo dojo at the moment that I saw it. Just the exterior, I didn't go in. I didn't want to get bullied, so.
Here's one thing. Kreese to kick you out.
Yeah, Kreese is going to be like, oh, you're not cool enough to do karate, and I didn't want that. I'm from Ohio, close enough to Jersey. I didn't want to live that. So the thing with this show is if it's taught us anything, it's that karate should not be taught anywhere because it turns your teenagers into violent gangs that will just beat the shit out of, home invade, and assault each other. So I saw a karate dojo down the street from where I live now, and I was like, oh, geez, do I need to move? Is there going to be karate gangs? Like, is this a bad
neighborhood? Are coming for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be factions against factions.
At high school.
I don't want to be the new Stingray, So I'm kind of worried about living near a karate dojo. They should lower my rent. But the shit hits the fan even more this season. And as we went over and you saw it in the trailers, we cannot hide this any longer. Our favorite thing about the later Karate Kid sequels was the one, the only, the greatest anime villain of all time, Terry Silver from the Karate Kid Part 3. He's a maniac billionaire who puts his life on hold as they address in the show to terrorize a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's back, baby, because John Kreese is having a hard time taking over Cobra Kai by himself. Johnny's doing Eagle Fang now, and he's like, you know what? If they're teaming up, I should get an ally too. And he calls his old friend John Kreese. He's like, the last time I fucked with some teenagers, it was me and Terry. So let's get him back. And that's what he does. It doesn't start out the way you might expect, though, but he is
here. You're absolutely right. Last scene of season 3, Mike, we got all that. The phone call, the setup for Terry Silver, the discovery on this podcast, after hearing you guys talk about this mythical Vietnam figure, going, who is Terry Silver? Who is Terry Silver? Like you said, our discovery of Karate Kid Part 3, which, go back and listen to the Karate Kid episode. You'll get our whole history of how I didn't know that was a movie. I thought that was the one starring Hilary Swank. Instead, no, it's the greatest movie ever invented, and our love of this character, Terry Silver. Now, guys, we knew this was coming. This was the angle that it was going up to. Real quick, I just want to set up, Mike.
Yes.
I've got here pulled up on my iPad here on the thekaratekid.fandom.com, which
nice.
What a shame. How is that not just like the Miyagi wiki or something like that? Like, let's clean that up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Here's how much the show Cobra Kai has been setting up Terry Silver since the start, okay?
Okay.
Season 1. 30 years after the 1985 tournament.
Yeah.
Not yet. We're going to get to some fucking great flashbacks. They talk about how Cobra Kai is reopened by Johnny Lawrence. He goes to the All Valley Karate Tournament board to try to reinstate themselves. He finds out they have a lifetime ban against Cobra Kai because of the actions of John Kreese, Mike Barnes, and a man named Terry Silver in 1985. He says, who the hell is Terry Silver?
Because he has no idea who that is.
They never met. Yeah, they never met.
They never met. Season 1. Season 1 reference of Cobra Kai. Back in the YouTube years.
They mentioned Terry
Season
Silver.
2. Danny LaRusso starts training kids. He takes in kids into Miyagi-Do, his dojo, right? He explains the dark sides of karate, the draw of the power of Cobra Kai that he himself had fallen for before. Now we see some flashback footage, Jacob, of part 3, him being trained against the wooden Mokujin, Terry Silver.
Oh, yeah.
Not named, just
yeah.
an evil force who guided him towards power.
Showing
is
his
what he
knuckles
says he
bleeding
is.
and stuff. Like, yeah,
Till his fucking body is broken, Mike.
Let's beat you into the
Season
ground.
3?
Yeah.
Season 3, it's the setup. It's who you guys got. It is
Finally.
the original OG flashbacks of Vietnam, Terry
Yeah.
Silver, right? The adventures of John Kreese and Terry Silver in a Vietnamese special unit.
Yeah, like Spec Ops, and they get captured. They fight atop a snake pit. There's a whole thing, and then Kreese ends up saving Terry, and that's where he gets a lot of leverage. But that's right, the flashbacks kind of introduce him. But if you didn't watch that third movie, it's hard to prime yourself for what was going to be coming. Who was going to be coming? This force of
But like
nature.
Thanos, he has been there in the background.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's wild.
Okay,
He is inevitable.
You compare to Thanos. Here's the thing. So obviously he's all this flashback for foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
They introduce him this season. He has his own Luke Skywalker, The Last Jedi moment, right? Because you get a phone call at the end of last season. You think, oh, he's going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
He subverts your expectations. He's not in at first. He's got this whole other life now, and he's doing great. He was doing a lot of cocaine back in the 80s. He doesn't know why he was terrorizing a high school kid.
And, yeah. And that's not explicitly said in the movie, the third movie. So I
No,
like that the
we
writers bring it up.
theorized.
We just figured he's got to be on something. And then the writer's like, yeah, I was just on a lot of cocaine. So I like that. But he doesn't, he's resistant to the call.
Oh, the 80s, John.
He tosses the lightsaber.
They were rough for
as
me.
it were.
He does, yeah.
So
Sacred
Terry
Cobra
Silver.
texts.
And I just want to say, because Jacob pointed this out in our last Karate Kid episode, the power of Cobra Kai to sort of, it's not filling in gaps. It's just that it has room and stuff to breathe. Jake, as you pointed out, the end of every Karate Kid movie is you won, you did it. Freeze frame. like there is just you. But
It's over.
we have no context of where Terry Silver went, what he was up to. I rewatched 3 before this. I rewatched season 3, and then I watched season 4. So I got my full pull of Terry, where I was like,
Wow.
Here we go, guys. I'm gonna get every piece of him. And coming into this, you know, the end of 3, he can't believe that Mike Barnes is gonna lose. He set up all that stuff, but we don't it's like there's really not that much at stake. You almost just want to. It's not like he's going to get killed at the end of that fight or anything.
Yeah.
So you just have no clue where he's going to go or how he's going to end up.
Yeah.
The other thing I like is that so when we did Karate Kid 3, I mentioned that it was weird that Daniel, as the returning champion, just gets to go straight. He bypasses the whole tournament and goes straight to the final fight. And they comment on that in this season. And Johnny Lawrence is like, wait, you just got to go back and fight in the championship again? That doesn't seem right.
Yep.
So I love that also.
And we get more mix-up of the rules, which we'll get into later. But right now, it's all about the Ballad of Terry Silver because, as I said, top 10 anime villains of all time. And now that we're getting into Season 4 proper, we see where they set him up. Spoilers for Season 4, obviously. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Go watch the third movie. If you haven't, Terry Silver is the best villain in cinema history.
Well, and Mike, as the mega fan of this franchise and stuff, I'll just ask you straight out, did he live up to it?
Boy, did he ever, especially by the very end. I mean, spoiler, the final bit where he ascends, the apprentice, the Sith, right? Overtakes the master. He finally ascends to take control. And as Jacob said, he didn't want to get in there. He's living his yoga, vegan little charcuterie life or whatever.
He's doing great. He's still a millionaire,
making a bunch of money.
multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is interesting, so the progression of
he has
the
an
season,
arc this season, yes.
Yeah, no, I was going to say they have to keep making a new villain because the first 2 seasons is it's mainly like Johnny and Miguel type show, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're Cobra Kai versus
Not a villain.
They're the main
Miyagi-Do,
characters
which is
at that
LaRusso,
point.
right?
Yep.
Then they have to bring in Kreese because Johnny Lawrence can't be the villain anymore, so they have to bring in Kreese as the ultimate villain. Now they bring in the one and only Terry Silver, who in this season surpasses Kreese in his insanity, and even Kreese is like, "Whoa, man! Like you're going too far. Like,
Cool it.
let's cool it down." And so now Terry Silver, he's the man.
Well, what's intriguing about this too, I guess we could touch on Kreese because there is that moment during the tournament where he sees Silver saying, no mercy, break the rules and win. And it reminds him of Johnny. And he's like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. So they're teasing a potential redemption arc. I don't want to say quite what happens till we get to the return of another fan favorite, similar to the Mongoose. But, you see that they're teasing a redemption arc for Kreese. And that's a big thing with the show is redemption. But it's like, I don't know if you can redeem Terry. Like, Terry needs to stay evil. Like, it's too good. He's too perfect.
I would even say Kreese, like, I appreciate what they're doing. I don't know if it'll fully work to have a full redemption because I felt like Kreese was already like the ultimate bad guy. But Silver really, he's great.
He's great. And here's the thing with Martin Kove and Kreese, he got a lot of shit in real life for that role in the 80s. Like people just be like, hey, fuck you, man. They just give him shit on the street. Same thing with, Johnny, And so I think the idea of giving him a redemption arc after enduring years of just harassment from strangers on the street, it makes sense because he had to, deal with that in real life.
And
so that.
The way they kind of build it up with his relationship with the girl that's in Cobra Kai now, I can't remember. What's her name?
Tori,
yes. And the differing leadership styles between him and Silver, where slowly, they're not always getting along, and then Terry Silver's like, yeah, even Kreese has a weakness, and he's like, wait, why'd you say that? Because he's always been like you said, he's always been the it's the Sith. There can only be two, but now the apprentice is taking over the master. He's learning to come into his own power.
He's coming in with the Quicksilver method, Jacob, and we're getting those flashbacks that I can give you 3 things, whatever that speech is, Mike, that lesson. It's just like you hear these things. Terry is the best. You understand why these people are drawn to him. I think it owns up to the promise.
He's charismatic as all hell, too. And he's got the money. He's got the lifestyle, right? And he can kind of draw you in with that as he did in the 80s. But the thing, too, with him in General Cobra Kai is strike first, strike hard, no mercy, right? Okay. Quicksilver goes to the direction of a man can't stand, he can't fight. A man can't see, he can't fight. A man can't breathe, he can't fight. It's different than just strike first and like outdo them. Just be quicker off the line. It's like fuck them up, like for real, right? And that's like the darker side. And even in the third movie, you see when they're interacting, when they're terrorizing Daniel, the 3v1 in the dojo, it feels like Kreese is kind of second fiddle to Terry. Like even in that moment, Terry's kind of taking the reins slightly from Kreese, even in that third film. So to see that explored more here and the power dynamic between them, it's perfect. That's why it's one of the best written shows on TV. Yeah,
you said last time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Again, we had Johnny. It was similar to the Johnny Kreese relationship in the earlier season, where Johnny kind of goes to the good side and joins up with Daniel, and now it's Johnny and Daniel versus Kreese and Silver.
And Kreese is trying to supplant his authority in his own dojo, and then he gets a taste of his own medicine, or venom, as it were.
Never someone else be the co-sensei at your dojo is what this show has taught me.
Yeah, they're just like Sith. The apprentice will always rise up eventually.
To betray the master, exactly.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the betrayal then? Because this is brilliant. And there was a long time that I'm watching this show, and I'm thinking, what happened to Stingray? He's a fan favorite character. I'm watching episodes and episodes. I'm wondering where he is. And then we find out what's going on with him. He wants to take the Stingray lead.
Paul Walter Hauser gets so famous. He's Richard Jewell in the Clint Eastwood film Richard Jewell, of course, that we've all seen and enjoyed.
Of course.
He was in Cruella this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very
him and
talented
Zendaya.
guy.
Yeah, they're the
He's gotten,
top
he's gotten bigger than Cobra Kai, but maybe not.
To come back. What a cool thing. Something I did not expect or know I even wanted, Mike.
No, and the way it's done is brilliant. Jacob, what do you think about the execution of like explaining where he was and how he ties into this plot of Terry's? It's so
I did
good.
like it.
Incredible.
Yeah, and because Well, it's funny because I thought he was just gonna be written out like he was one of those early season characters that like they kind of like Samantha's friend who kind of gets written out, who also comes back this season.
Also
Alicia,
returns this
yeah, she
Yeah.
comes back.
I didn't expect that either, but the way they
No.
explain, and of course he's older, so he gets written out as like, oh yeah, that guy was just hanging out with a bunch of minors. He's not really
Yeah.
allowed to do that anymore.
It's like, just get rid of him.
You're on house arrest, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just that guy that wants to party with all the high school kids, way past the time that he should be partying with high school kids. But it's pretty funny.
He
how they bring him
feels
back.
like Cobra Kai gave him a place to belong. He feels like Daniel, who didn't have a place to belong. It's like the dojos are serving that purpose of like giving people a place, but sometimes the
Right.
philosophies being taught are not necessarily the soundest.
No.
And then that's when Terry sees his moment. This old guy who wants to be a Cobra so bad, and the plot is hatched. And what a plot it is indeed.
And Mike, the interesting characterization of all, because I'll just even say, even Stingrays of just the confidence of walking in and believing that just everybody was still waiting for him. Fucking
Yeah.
hilarious.
I love it.
But the Terry Silver of it all, we get a season where, I guess again, you got to give these writers credit because they see everything on the bone. They just clean their plates because it's truly like. It could just be an offhand thing, the Vietnam stuff, but the whole season is essentially them struggling with what their relationship to each other was in the war and how the war fucked them up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him and Kreese.
And
we get these fucking great lines of like, they tell that story about Ponytail dying or whatever, or Fatso or the guy who didn't wash his ass or whatever, right? They have a nice life about it. And then he says that horrible thing about how he was blown up the next day. And you get this incredible line from Terry of, that's the kind of story I'd actually prefer to forget. And you see this struggle between the two of them of, you were my commanding officer. Like, I almost need to listen to you to keep functioning. And when he drinks the alcohol and beats the shit out of Stingray Mike, I actually fucking gasped because I was like, I almost was like, is this an act that Terry's putting on even? Like, is he faking me out right now? Or is this the realest I've ever seen him?
Yeah. That's what makes it so compelling is it's like he's drunk and like you can tell, obviously with the cocaine, he's had substance abuse problems in the past.
And if this Mike wasn't on Netflix, or maybe even not, because it's maybe not the audience Cobra Kai is going for, he would be blasting rails in that scene
That
before
would
he
be
fucking beat the shit out of them.
I want to see him doing some cocaine in season 5.
Next season, do you
He
think,
needs
Jacob?
to.
I would love that.
He's just in the
Please?
back office of Cobra Kai. Like,
Yeah, Johnny boy.
Even just once real quick, just one time in the whole show. You don't have to do it all the
I'm
time.
clean, but I can do it. I can do it one more time.
Yeah.
but you know what scene I really like, and you talk about parallels to Karate Kid Part 3, when he has a scene where he lures Johnny Lawrence to the old dojo, and he brings Kreese there too, and he's like, let's beat the shit out of Johnny
Just
Lawrence
like
and
they
teach him
did
a
with
lesson,
Daniel.
It's
just
done.
like what they did with
This
Daniel.
is your enemy. It means nothing.
this
to
time,
me. Let's
Kreese is
kill
like-
him.
Yeah, and well, it's interesting because Johnny is the Anakin to Kreese, right? In a way where he's like, oh, maybe I was too hard on you, and then Silver, he's taking it too far. So, a lot of interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah, and then again, that disagreement from Kreese where it's like, maybe we shouldn't murder a man in cold blood.
Yeah.
And then Terry's like, should we not, though? And so, like, that just...
Well, this is what you wanted, you brought me back.
Like,
I'm back, baby.
come on.
I wanted to save this for the end, but since we're on it, let me just ask you guys.
Yes.
So, Mike, you're always saying the karate's not even the thing you love about this. It doesn't have to be the big thing for you or whatever.
Yes.
This is a scene where these people kind of are debating whether or not they're going to do karate to the death with each other.
Yes.
Now, we all were just talking about redemption. What? Like, just in your minds, Mike, what do you want the end of this series to be? A huge karate showdown where there's like life or death stakes where these people actually kill each other?
I think the karate gangs take over the streets of the valley. The police are useless to stop them, and it's just an all-out wasteland of karate.
Put your guns down, boys. He's doing some kind of taekwondo, and then I got nothing to do.
He knows Quicksilver. Guys, put your guns down. We're out of here. Clear out.
Like, Chosen and Danny, in your mind, fight Terry to the death while Johnny Lawrence is like fighting Mike Barnes to the death. Like what? Where could this all be heading?
The escalation is an incredible question to ask, and I do want to ask it after we address maybe, because it is baffling. Because there's a lot of, we've been only talking Terry, and we do have other characters in the show. But I'm with you.
There's so much more. There's just so much more.
Because literally,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying what we have to tie in kind of the disagreement and beating the shit out of Stingray. That is a vehicle for him to then say, Stingray, you tell them that Kreese beat the shit out of you, assaulted you, and then he'll get arrested. And it's like, fuck. And that's like the end of the season. So that's like your first, where does it go from here? And then we have a little bit more with the other characters. But wow, Terry, wow. Welcome back, buddy. We missed you.
It's a maniac.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, we talk about the other characters. A lot of these characters, I think what the show is really so good at is having these character arcs where they have redemption. You know, the whole Hawk arc was like one of the best of the whole show.
My favorite.
And I think another standout for me this year was freaking Robbie, right? Johnny Lawrence's son, who you talk about arcs. Like he's gone from you know, bad boy to studying under Daniel and being the, you know, the face of Miyagi-Do basically. And then he's basically switched sides with Miguel, where Miguel essentially turns face and he turns heel. And so now he's the big heel representing Cobra Kai. And I thought he really brought it this year. He was like so intense in like the fight scenes in the tournament and everything. He just brought it this year. And he looks like he got ripped this year. Like, you know, he takes shirt off and he's just like, he's going for it.
For whatever reason in that fight, it's like, okay, shirts off time. And I just feel bad for Eli. Not that he's not like doing sit-ups.
Guys with my body type.
Yeah, I guess I feel seen. Yeah.
And that's another thing I like is like, you know, the early seasons, it really was the Miguel and Johnny show, which was really great. This year, Miguel kind of takes a step back in the karate where he's like, you know, he gets injured. He's like, do I really want to be doing this?
I got a broken back,
Yeah. And it becomes, you know, the other two best kids maybe, or the best male kids, which was Robbie and Hawk, and they had a great showdown in the tournament. Right?
It was an excellent fight. And then thing too with like Miguel and Johnny kind of being the focus of those early seasons is after Johnny gets the shit beat out of him by Kreese and Silver, like he gets drunk on his banquets, and then Miguel kind of helps him in.
Yes.
And it's like an inverse of the Miyagi Daniel scene when Miyagi gets really drunk, remembering the death of his child and his wife, and he never had a son. And you kind of understand that that's what he's seeing in Daniel, a chance to pass down his legacy. And then you have Miguel helping Johnny into bed. He's drunk, and then you're seeing, Johnny's able to have a son, and he says, "I love you," and he says, "I love you too." He says, "I love you, Robbie." And we can tell
I love that
was
scene.
heartbreaking.
Yes, I forgot.
That was heartbreaking
because Miguel wants to be the son
crying.
of Johnny, and he can't.
Yeah, well, that's what's so fascinating about this show. You know, Miguel is like the surrogate son for Johnny because Johnny and his real son Robbie don't get along. The relationship between these three is so interesting, and of course, there's also the whole love triangle thing or love square with Miguel, Robbie, Samantha, and freaking Tori.
And then we have
they've switched sides so much.
Right. Then there's another extended quote love square between student and master where it's like Miguel, Daniel, Johnny, Sam. So they're creating all of these.
The rivalry between
dynamics.
Miguel and Robbie, where it's like Robbie is like, oh, you'll never be his true son. But he doesn't even, you know, his relationship with his own father is very strained. So it's almost like Miguel is more of Johnny's son than Robbie is.
Yeah. It's crazy. And to mine all of that from a 1984 summer movie.
Yeah.
The way they build up the kid cast of this is really fascinating because that's like the new generation, which could have been done so like lame and like corny, but it's actually really well done the way they develop these characters.
Well, you get a lot of sympathy for Tori this season where you realize that, you know, she wants to bury the hatchet with Sam. At some point, she comes around, she talks to Mrs. LaRusso, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, I got to work these odd jobs where they throw a feint that it's a stripping job, but it's a mermaid job. That was
That's
wild
a great
one.
Visual gag.
That really got me. Jacob, if you had a cat scratch scar, would you remove your sleeve on every one of those arms?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what the show is so great at, is like flipping these characters. So you you're rooting for Samantha, right? She's Daniel LaRusso's daughter. She's on the good side, Miyagi Do.
Karate girl.
Right.
This season kind of flips, and it's like, wait, Tori's life is like terrible. You know, she has
Yes.
bad family stuff going on. She's got to work like a bunch of jobs to pay for her family. Samantha's like this rich girl that like has everything handed to her. So it really shows you like, oh, maybe, you know, it's not all like black and white.
No, and I think that's what this is doing well. Like Mrs. LaRusso accidentally gets Tori fired. Right,
Yeah.
and feels remorseful for that. And I always thought Mrs.
Yes.
LaRusso was like the only logical adult on the show, but even she got pulled into it and like
Yes.
messed up somebody's shit, you know?
Amazingly so, Mike. And they do that great parallel of Miguel kind of versus Sam on going to college, where it's like, oh, you can afford to go anywhere. I'm going to have to go do a 2-year technical and then, you know, hopefully move on. They're like, you're the
Yeah.
smartest kid at our school. And he's like, yeah, but my mom is a nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which really brings me to my hot take, which I shared with you guys before, is that my least
I've never
favorite
heard
characters, my least favorite characters in the Karate Kid TV show is the Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso,
Yeah.
and his family, who really are just the worst.
They are. Sam is
LaRusso.
terrible. And because like Tori's like, hey, I'm sorry, could we not fight? And Sam's like, no, fuck you. It's like, okay.
Right.
Well,
right.
and
Sorry.
let's set up the other side.
There was
here
a
of
home
Jacob's
invasion,
argument.
so
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess I get it.
This whole season is about rehabbing bullies. Literally, Robbie is made to look better. Tori, Kreese. The question of bullying comes in. So the other element, the other LaRusso kid to not like, the son is now the bully to the young kid who wants to join Cobra Kai to defend himself.
Yeah, so this is
Right.
Kenny. He's the brother
Kenny.
of one of the guys that Robbie befriended in
Was in
juvie.
jail. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Juvie.
Amazing twist.
Amazing.
Another callback. They bring back the same actor and everything. I love how they do that.
Well, what I like about Kenny is they establish that it's like he's a military kid. His dad's in the military. He lives with his mom.
Totally.
Daniel's dad wasn't around. He lived with his mom. You know, Johnny's dad wasn't around. His mom married some rich fuck. So like the karate element, father figure, sensei, student thing is strong. And it's like, well, what if Daniel moved here and did join Cobra Kai? And that's what Kenny shows. And it teaches Johnny, whoa, maybe these teachings aren't so great because this was a nice kid and now he's become a monster. But
Yeah, well, and
Right.
somehow
And even
this piece
the
of
LaRusso
shit
is his
son,
bully. Yeah.
the piece
Yeah.
of shit LaRusso kid, Jacob, who somehow
The worst.
has his Jersey accent, even though he was born in California and held by Miyagi as a baby and told he would be the strongest child of all time.
Yeah. He has high midichlorian count. But he doesn't
Right.
even know karate because he just wants to play on his PSP.
That's right.
But his
Yeah.
friends think he does. So he's always
Well, that's
talking
the
big.
other-
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of in it really shows how nuanced, you know, bullying can be in high school because you have this kid, LaRusso Jr., who is getting peer pressured by these other kids who are like, you know, if he doesn't show strength in bullying Kenny, then he's going to get bullied. So he kind of feels like he has to. He's conflicted. And, you know, Kenny, he's basically reenacting Karate Kid 1, but instead
The dark side
of
arc.
meeting Miyagi, he joins Cobra Kai. And then even Robbie kind of takes him under his wing. But then even by the end of the season, Robbie has realized he's kind of created a monster in Kenny. And then we get that scene
Can't be two
where Kenny,
apprentices. Destroy him.
Got a Darth
you
Maul
know,
now.
Kenny kind of beats the shit out of, you know, Daniel's
Yes.
son.
He's
And then
trying to
like, "I'm gonna-"
apologize. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, hey, you know, I was being
Yeah.
a dick. He does
Set
redeem.
up to be an asshole for next season, Mike. That's crazy.
Nuts. And we
Yeah.
liked this kid in the beginning. He was the first character you see in this season. They introduce him right in the first episode. He's like this sweet kid. You feel bad
Bold.
for him. They pull the heartstrings, Daniel LaRusso style, Karate Kid 1. And then he becomes the bully. And he's like, I'm going to make your life miserable. Every day I'm going to be stalking you in the hallways. And it's like, oh my God, Kenny. No.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then Robbie sees that, and that's what allows Eli to win the fight. Is in a brief flash, Robbie sees what he's created, and then that's what allows Eli to score the winning point.
Right.
Redemption all around. But it's so well written. It has no right. It has no business being as good as it is. And as Colin said, my least favorite thing about it is the karate.
Right. Well, to me, it really is like WWE or something. The way they write, you know,
Hell yeah.
faces and heels, people switching sides,
Mhm.
and it's almost like the actual
Teaming up.
wrestling is the least, you know, interesting part. It's more about the drama and the storylines.
Yeah.
Your guys' setup when I was about to start Cobra Kai, Jacob, you were like, oh, it just couldn't even be at a better point because now they're gonna have to work together and stuff. And I was like, what? Like they do it that much, but of course, over the course of each season, as you said, we're Team Cobra Kai now, we're Team Miyagi-Do, we're Team Eagle Fang, which I just hate as a name, and I hope they don't continue going forward with it. I like as a joke, but
yeah, I'm wearing a red headband. I like it as a joke because eagles don't have fangs, and Johnny wouldn't know that. Or it's just badass. Yeah. It's just badass, man. But, we have 3 schools here. And one of the big things that's different in this season that I really appreciate, speaking of the karate being my least favorite thing, is the changes to the tournament. The tournament gets shaken up. There's now a boys and a girls division. There's now skills competitions and kata. And to me, as someone who, was in karate in high school and stuff, that is what an actual karate tournament is more like. Yeah. They have forms. They have, skills. They have fighting. They have kumite is what the fighting
and I really like that. Because from a storytelling perspective, it gives other characters a chance to like shine or do something. Like you have Dimitri, the kind of loser kid that's not that good at fighting. He gets to do some presentation or something.
And stuff. Yeah, he's doing some skills and
then
stuff.
And then you have the women's division, so you can have the big face-off between Samantha and Tori, which of course you have that, and then you have the male version, which is Miguel and Robbie, but obviously this time it was Hawk. So yeah.
I was so happy Tori won. And Jacob, you're so right. It's almost like the writers are like, wait a minute. We have this huge expanded cast that's awesome. Let's change the rules to service this huge expanded awesome cast we have.
Yeah, also,
it really... Yeah.
I was saying, and also align it more realistically with what a karate tournament people might go to in the real world would look like. Right. Because even in the first movie, it's not like, it's not the most realistic karate. I think everybody knows that. So for the show to now take the icon of karate in cinema, Karate Kid, and then transition its representation of karate to be more accurate, I think that's pretty cool. Cool thing that they did.
Yeah. And with Samantha losing, that was kind of another subverting the expectations moment where it's like she finally realized she has to take in her dad's advice, she has to take in Johnny's advice and combine them. Offense is good sometimes, defense is good sometimes, and then she still loses in the end.
Yeah, because the Sensei Square, Daniel had to be okay with her learning from Johnny, and Johnny had to be okay with Miguel learning.
That was like
from
the whole
you learned that
arc for them. Yeah,
a violent move.
You learned a punch in karate, but yeah,
that's literally what it all comes down to, though. It's like, oh, Miyagi was all defense all the time, and Eagle Fang is all about offense. So it's like, why not just combine those and have a well-rounded game? Why did it take so long to think about that? But
people called Bruce Lee crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Those old heads, they don't like change. But then to see Tori, it's like, well, who wants it more? Clearly she did, and she wanted to do it honorably. Even when he says do the dirty shit, she doesn't. She wins it. Properly. The ref does not, however, call a foul, and we find out. And Tori overhears this that Terry, with his use of big monies, bribed the referee to give her the match. And she realizes now that her victory is hollow. Wow. Terry.
And she's really grown as a character. And even when she wins, she is immediately like worried that she hurt Samantha. And she doesn't even, celebrate at first because she's like, oh, are you okay? Because she doesn't want to be perceived that she was doing something dirty.
It's a real Bobby Brown moment. He's remorseful, right? You okay, Dad? I'm sorry,
And then, she sees that, obviously, and then now it's like, the victory does not mean anything to her. So
sometimes when you win, you also lose. And this is one of those scenarios, That's trademark me, by the way. OC, do not steal. But that's like the storytelling that's great. Like you can have this character that was such like a villain previous 2 seasons in Tori. Sam, who you she's never been my favorite, but she's like a good person, like a good guy, so to speak. And then it's like, you end up rooting for Tori and all this stuff changes. Even like Eli, that arc of when Robbie and them hold him down and shave his, head off, mohawk hair off. But like he also broke somebody's arm last season. So I mean, like
he's a villain.
He's a villain, but to see that,
well, he is a redeemed. Like that was so great. That's what's so great about his whole arc, because he goes all the way bad and then is able to redeem himself. And then you even see it with
Darth
him
Vader
showing up and building that whole stage thing that he does at the Miyagi-Do location.
He stole
They
the
work
medal.
together.
last season. And this season, he's building out and honoring the dojo further.
He
You're
realizes,
absolutely right.
actions speak louder than words. We can say he's sorry and try to redeem himself, or he can show that he's sorry.
Because at this point, everybody in Eagle, Fang, the ex-Cobra Kai students, and everybody in Miyagi-Do is kind of like pissed at him because he pretty much burnt all of his bridges.
Yeah.
And it takes him getting his mohawk shaven off to where he feels like that's his identity. And then even like Moon, his ex-girlfriend who he was sad about, was like, I like Eli better anyway, and it's like, he's no longer tied to the Hawk persona. Eli is enough and validated. And I think that's important for his character growth.
Should I get rid of this tattoo now?
Yeah, no, that's
it's just amazing
Put
how
fangs
far
on it.
he's come as a character. He started as the the nerdy, quiet kid with no confidence.
Yeah, like
he learns
bullied.
confidence. Yeah, but then it goes too far, and he becomes what he despised before, the bully. And now he's back, and he's finally learned his lesson. Now he's a confident, good person.
Yeah, well, I
He's
guess
the season 1 Johnny Lawrence.
he is. He is, and I guess we can look forward to Kenny having the same arc as Eli in the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, I guess.
You can only go so far. The last kind of thing that happens, maybe before predictions on this, is, Cobra Kai wins. Like you said, Cobra Kai wins. Yeah. Terry does the double cross on Kreese, so now he's in sole control. He's going to introduce probably the Quicksilver method,
probably.
to them. I can't wait for that. Yeah. Franchising. They're reopening the original dojo on Lancashire. Go check it out. And
amazing.
We get Daniel going to Miyagi's gravestone, and he's like, I don't know what to do. Cobra Kai, they would have never shut down if they lost. I'm just going to stay open. And then who do we get coming out of the shadows? Got off a flight, put on a suit, found out where Daniel was, didn't call him ahead of time, went to the grave at the correct time. Yeah. It's Chosen, baby.
So here's the thing. This is one of those things where I'm like, I'm not even expecting anyone. Like, honestly, at that point, I'm like, maybe it's Miyagi's ghost. They're about to turn the camera and show me. Like, I have no fucking clue what's about to happen. And then when it's Chosen, I'm like,
texts.
Again. But, Mike, what does this mean? Because in one of the last episodes, they really emphasize again, of course, the son comes in. Oh, Dad, I'm never in the dojo anyways. What's this anyways? Oh, that's the Miyagi magic touch. If you use this, when I use this to execute Terry Silver next season, and then Johnny Lawrence puts a gun to his head afterwards and blows his brains out.
Hell yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. Like, the way that's set up. So then when it's revealed that Chosen's there, obviously to further teach this method, or again, the way they're presenting it is it's like, we're going to get in my car from where we are. We're going to drive over to these 2 old men, and we're going to have the karate duel of a lifetime.
Yes. And that is where we're at now, where it's like, what is,
Up is being called. Reinforcements are coming, Mike.
Yeah, and like, right. I get it, like the Chosen, I think his sensei Sato, and he had a rivalry with Miyagi over, the same woman that they loved, right?
Is Sato dead? Sato couldn't be in this?
Sato probably could not. The guy's probably... I can't confirm, don't know. But you get Chosen. But it's like it's carrying on the legacy, because I believe Miyagi and Sato trained under the same sensei. So it's like still carrying that legacy, and it's like a nerve technique that makes your arm go numb. I think he did it to Daniel in Okinawa. So that's the next evolution, I guess.
But he also has that secret Miyagi technique that is in those scrolls, right? That Daniel finds.
I think that is the nerve technique.
Okay. I think it's the only offensive Miyagi-Do move, right? It's all blocks other than pressure point attack.
And it takes away the offensive weapon of your opponent. So the only offense they do just removes it's too much. Right?
You should open it and there should be a handgun inside, and he should have been like, it's Mr. Miyagi's ultimate technique.
The best defense.
He always said I would need this.
But what did he say? No, be there, right? Don't be in the location of the fight. So just be 30 feet away with a gun,
Bang.
No one can punch you there. But so that's an interesting thing. What's going to happen with Chosen? Obviously, Terry Silver. The big question for me is, do we get karate's bad boy, Mike Barnes? And what function does he serve? Because he's just kind of a karate mercenary.
And when I
which is a weird 2 words to say, karate mercenary.
Well, the bad boy of karate, and as we
those
pointed
3
out
are
in that
also
episode,
great. Yeah.
The fact that he has a magazine spread that says he is the bad boy of karate
Just
in Black
punching.
Belt magazine.
He
I would
did a
die.
photo shoot.
Please,
How did that photo shoot
before
go?
I
Did he
die,
kill everybody?
Let me get in Black Belt magazine with that headline. But I scanned the Cobra Kai subreddit, and they just go, it's just fan art, it's theories, and they go, oh, when Mike Barnes has to face Johnny Lawrence, because, obviously Daniel will have to face, like, the big boss, and then, like, Johnny will have to defeat, like, the sub-boss. And you're just like, what? Like, in your minds, again, what do you guys even picture or imagine that being like?
Okay, first of all...
preface. In what universe does anybody not born in the 80s give two shits about any of this?
Yes.
So that being said, Bizarro Land, Jacob, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, first of all, Daniel LaRusso, which again, one of the worst characters for me.
He's terrible.
He has his
Karate Kid.
at this point, he's 60 years old. His karate at this point, not the best. And he has one scene
It wasn't
where he
even
has
good
to
in
fight
the
a bunch
80s.
of hockey players, and it's like, okay, you're beating up all these hockey players in their
forgot about
20s or 30s.
The assaults.
Well, and there's no way, let's say this, that he would have lost the duel to Johnny. There's no way.
Right.
When the rematch, we forgot to mention the rematch.
Yes.
They tie for the Graham. Yeah.
Yes. But you were saying.
But I'm just saying, Daniel LaRusso, not so good at karate anymore. They kind of have to hide that with some of the editing and camera angles. But I think Terry Silver, of the old people, had the best karate in this, which makes sense because he's an actual karate guy, right?
Yeah, but isn't he? He's younger too. He's a spry lad.
Okay, yes. Now this is my fun fact that it's gonna blow your mind, all you listeners out there. Thomas Ian Griffith, who plays Terry Silver, how old would you guess that he is compared to Ralph Macchio, who plays Daniel LaRusso?
It's me, the voice of the public. I would say he's certainly older. He's certainly an older human than Ralph. Much
Oh,
older.
you would think that, voice of the public, but you would be wrong.
What? I'm shocked as the voice of the public. You must be lying.
6 months younger than Ralph Macchio. He's only 59 or 60, and Ralph Macchio is 61, which is just crazy. Insane to think about. John Kreese is 15 years older than Terry Silver.
Wow.
Which again, if you look back at those Vietnam flashbacks, doesn't really make sense in terms of their age, but we'll just go with it.
Daniel was like,
plays a little older.
LaRusso was like 30 something in Karate Kid 3. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was like 24 in the first one, I think, and William Zabka was like 18 or 19. So he's a little bit older than William Zabka. And he was like 29 or 30 by part 3. And it's like, you're supposed to be like in your early 20s now.
Yeah, that's why they called the audible on the romance, because the co-star was like 16. They're like, they're just homies. I'm like, that's a good call.
Now, Mike, who cares about Mike Barnes? Next season, does Pottery Girl come back? I just flew in from Columbus, Ohio. I heard all the news about the All Valley tournament.
I want to return to hey, remember you punched me in the face that time in a nightclub? I'm a huge fan, Daniel.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, here for reparations.
Alley. Another thing I really like is that just from the franchise, Daniel always just has a different love interest in each movie, and then his eventual wife is just a different lady that he also met after all those movies happened. Like, I just love that. Like, so many times you see, like, they bring it back. It's like, oh, the high school lovers are like still together. This one, it's like, it's just some lady you met after all that stuff happened.
Now, it's more realistic.
Only issue with that, Jacob, because again, I haven't talked about the other seasons of Cobra Kai before on this podcast. When he goes to Okinawa and sees Kumiko, is that right?
Tamlin Tomiko.
And he says, well, certainly there's been a man. No, I haven't had a love in my life since somebody fought to the death for me. Now, yes, I understand that. That's super cool that happened to you one time. Girl, you are a smoke show. Go live your life. Daniel LaRusso is not coming back to Okinawa for you.
And I mean, he's a handsome, boyish lad, but there's other game out in the world, lady. And you were 18 when that happened. Like, you have life to live.
No, he was so good.
It was a big moment.
No one ever fought to the death for me since, and I just can't get over it. Yeah.
That's
in the 80s,
so wild.
There's nothing that the ladies were more into in the 80s than Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid.
And him saying, and do you know, right when I got back, I had to fight this guy on cocaine? He was out of his mind, and he was trying to ruin my life for 6 months.
That's why he looks so much older. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
By the way, Thomas Ian Griffith, he should have had a
Yes.
bigger career, in my opinion.
Yes.
Oh man,
Yes.
He should have
Let's-
been like a movie star.
Let's
Should have
talk
been
about
like
this
a
for a
Tom
minute.
Cruise
we're
level
bringing back the
star.
love fest.
No, buddy.
I agree.
Dial it back. I'm not saying that. Jean-Claude Van Damme is all I am asking for. A real martial artist
Yeah.
who had the skills and chops and was a good actor. Now, I texted Mike this. I've been filling out some of my Thomas Ian Griffith watches. Jacob, you revealed to me last time we did this that his second role after this, or maybe even filmed first, was a TV movie as Rock Hudson, my favorite actor, where I was like,
Right.
Thomas Ian Griffith, were you made in a lab for me?
Well, that's why I'm saying
You
is
just
that
never knew until
Yeah.
I
with
made
you know
watch
he's
Karate
great
Kid
at the
3.
action, but with his career, he's got the charisma, he's got the looks, he's got the action stunt ability. He could have been, you know, a Tom Cruise level guy in the '90s. Mission Impossible, like I could see him in that role. Not even just a Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like that, but he should have been a bigger star in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I watched some stuff called Behind Enemy Lines, not the one you're thinking of. Cracker Jack, all these B-level movies. And here's the thing. John Lithgow will be in one scene as like the villain in one of these.
Yeah.
And Thomas Ian Griffith will be third billed behind him, even
Sure.
though he is the star of the movie. Like, it is
Like
so
Steven Seagal.
frustrating. Yes, exactly. And
We
a little
deserved Thomas Ian Griffith instead of Steven Seagal. They should be
Thank
switched
you.
in our
Chuck
universe.
He would have
Norris,
been a better-
a guy
yeah.
who couldn't act, got a career, and it is I couldn't put my finger on it. So let me just say real quick. Bad guy in John Carpenter's Vampires. You know,
Yes.
just a weird career up and down through the 80s. More TV stuff in the 90s. The 2000s starts writing episodes and producing for that Grimm, which was like a supernatural Grimm's fairy tale show. What is that connection? He's just
don't
like
know.
sitting around. He's like, you know what would be a really cool monster hunting story? And you're like, I don't know. You were the star of Karate Kid Part 3. What are you talking
I
about?
told you,
Yeah.
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
He should have had a bigger career, man.
He
I
really
don't know.
should
He could
have,
have been a
man.
movie
He
star.
had a weird career. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
I'm just glad that people are finally being introduced to the actor and the talent that is behind
Yes.
it, because he really brings it. Like when you first see him, he's a completely different person than he is at the end of the season. He has a real arc. He has pathos. He really brings it, just like he did in Karate Kid 3. It's over the top and insane, but it's captivating and awesome. And I wish he would have had. He deserved a
He
bigger
doesn't
career.
crawl in any chimneys in this, unfortunately, Mike.
No,
we needed that.
But he gaslights people just like he did the original. Like he's a master manipulator. He's great. He's great.
Yeah.
But
Throws
Yeah.
his money around.
oh man, and that's the thing too. He throws his money around to buy cool shirts so the other kids want to join Cobra Kai, like showing that leverage.
Johnny, some scary man here is throwing a lot of cash around. He's going to pay for Robbie's entire prom night in a beautiful evening with a limo and a tux and a dress for Tori. Is this okay? The one scene we get with Robbie's mom this season, you're like, oh my God.
And you think
weird.
she would be like, wait, there's rich guys buying shit for Robbie? I should
she's like,
probably
what?
hook up with him.
Is
I
this a
should-
karate thing? What the fuck is this?
I thought, who knows? I thought when she showed up that she was going to be like, he's actually a really nice guy, Johnny. And like, he was
I'm
going to
dating
move
him.
in on, that was like,
I
dude.
did too, actually.
He might
I did
still,
too.
who knows? But that would be insane. And then he literally is trying to be Johnny's dad. Oh my God. But they do get a hug. We get Johnny and Robbie reunited at the end of this. So
Yeah,
who
right at the
knows? And Miguel, dips, I guess, to kind of wrap up this kind of summary. Miguel goes down
Yeah.
to find his dad. One person from Karate Kid 3. Is Mike Barnes his dad? I think it's Snake. Because
Mike.
if you want to be a bad
Be
boy
the
in
twist,
LA, he's
yeah.
the one to be
It
bad with.
cannot tie into the previous
Snake
movie.
took Mike Barnes down to TJ or whatever.
Yeah,
And then
it makes sense.
Now we have Miguel.
And it's I think with Miguel sort of, it seems like they're kind of writing him off, or at least for a smaller
He's
part
got
next
stuff
season.
going on, right?
Yeah, he's gonna be Blue Beetle, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Solo is starring as Blue Beetle. He's one of my favorite actors on the show, though, Jacob. I would hate to see him be reduced.
Yeah,
That scene with him and Johnny.
definitely
yeah,
seems like he's gonna get a smaller role next season. He's gonna be looking for his dad. He'll probably get a lot of scenes shot by himself, like in
Second
Mexico
unit.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, it's going great.
Right.
Yeah. Just be safe, Miggy. Okay.
Which I think is
exactly.
great. Why
Kid,
they're
you all
kind
right?
of building up Robbie to kind of be the new main, male kid where he's going through a lot. He's got the Kenny thing. He's kind of having to realize, he's gone too far to the dark side with Cobra Kai, and he's kind of trying to find out who he really
and Jacob,
is.
let's set that up. So next season, his struggle will be recompense with the LaRussos, essentially, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like he does have that epiphany moment, right? Where, oh man, what have I done? So yeah, I think he's going to be redeemed a little bit next year, and then also Tori as well.
Yeah, and with Robbie, he's been positioned as kind of the gray Jedi, where it's like even though he's at the Cobra Kai school, he's like, I don't buy into all this shit. It's like he's trying to
touch
steer
those blocks. When Terry just like says that from the corner of the room, Mike. Oh, is that Miyagi-Do you're doing? No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
He's kind of taken from both schools, which is also something that Sam was doing this season. Where she's like, I need to learn all sides of all philosophies, I guess.
So will Eagle Fang truly be what it is? Will we almost see this dissolution of the other two as they realize we need to combine all of our energies? The karate we teach is inherently flawed, if not taught from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, basically that because Robbie was teaching Miyagi-Do to all the Cobra Kai students so they would be ready for it, and they won. And he sees the evil over there, so I think he needs to not only reconcile with the LaRussos, but also with Johnny. And then, he's kind of the forefront of Eagle Fang / Miyagi-Do in this new thing. Chosen, maybe teach him some of the old, style. Who knows? But Robbie definitely seems like our main protagonist, with Eli on the side. But I don't know if Eli would carry the way Robbie could as our main.
No.
I want Kyler to be the villain because that dude is a huge asshole. He's so good at it. Yeah, he's really good. And I like the new Cobra Kai gear that's really like hype beast and super super cool,
Yeah, and they're like super commercial now because they're backed by Terry Silver. But I think it will be just everyone teaming up against this Terry Silver Cobra Kai, basically. And, pretty much every character at some point is going to get redeemed. Every kid is going to eventually
Kreese will reach out and like, hey man, I was framed, this Terry guy, what are we gonna do? It's like, oh, I hate you, I'm Johnny Lawrence, I hate you, Kreese. No, but he's more dangerous than you imagine. It's like, okay,
and here's what I want then. So it's the portal scene in Endgame, right?
Yes.
I mean, it is everyone you can imagine has come together. Okay, I'm saying like if you're Mrs. LaRusso, the mom, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about the grandmother.
Well, they brought her on a few times.
But I'm saying she's there to do karate too. I'm talking literally. So the cousin, that therapist girlfriend, the cousin had this season. They are all there to do karate.
Oh, fun fact, Colin. The therapist girlfriend is played by something Macchio, Ralph Macchio's daughter.
I could have.
That's right.
Oh, daughter?
Yeah, that's his
wife.
daughter.
I was about to say I could have 100% told you. But okay, so she's there too. They're all about to fight Terry Silver. It's everyone versus Terry Silver. Here's the advantage though. Terry pulls out. He does huge, fat rails of cocaine in front of everyone. I'm talking just like nonstop.
This is the Quicksilver method.
So powerful. Exactly. That literally, like, I mean, it's like them fighting Thanos. Like, Danny's holding one arm. Sam is punching him like in the stomach. Tori has like the cat claws where she's like attacking him. They're just like going at him. He just blows them all away because he's so powered by cocaine. And then Kreese comes in, right? And he's got the infinity headband. Okay, now I'm losing it.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I think who steps through the portal with him is Karate's bad boy Mike Barnes, who has an axe to grind for some reason. He didn't get paid enough or whatever. And then the ultimate hero, Hilary Swank. One last time, the next Karate Kid
comes in on her arm.
Oh, and she's with Eli. Eli is the Hawk, and he transforms into a human.
Eli anamorphs.
Yes, Tobias. Yeah, just like Tobias.
Yeah,
just like Tobias.
He gets stuck in his animal form.
I was trying to pull the name.
Tobias, of course. I got it.
What a pull.
No, but Hilary Swank, I was 100% going to say, when they have that scene at the graveyard, I was like, when they pull out, I was like, who's it? if it wasn't chosen, I was almost expecting it to be Hilary Swank. I don't know if her and Daniel ever met in canon, but
she's the black
and she
sheep of
says,
the Karate
"I knew
Kid
him
family.
too." About Miyagi, that would have really. I mean, that would have just been sick.
Just to have the
Yeah,
scene
He
of
was
two
my
Cody
master too.
how did you know him? He was my sensei.
He was my sensei.
too.
And then they do
He
a
never
little,
told
like,
me.
it's like that scene in Spider-Man where they, like, test each other's way. They do, like, a little bit of Miyagi-Do to each other and then, like, bow.
Oh man, on his
that was
grave.
amazing.
Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that's the final thing that they have to bring Hilary
100%.
Swank back.
That's the
right?
only things.
Yeah.
The only characters we're missing are them.
Yes.
Essentially, and then because they had every Cobra Kai in the every Cobra except for Dutch. And they had every other Cobra show up for that.
Put 'em in a
Motorcycle
body bag.
get together and stuff like that. Yep, put him in body bag.
Yeah.
With visual metaphor.
Terry Silver could potentially hire Michael Ironside's villain teacher character from the next Karate Kid, I guess, like as one of his goons. Like, I guess that would be the final piece of the puzzle here with Mike Barnes.
Could he hire Mike Barnes' son that he had with Hilary Swank, who's also a karate champion and of age?
I'm here for my son. He's out of control.
Yes.
That would be the ultimate twist if Hilary
Daniel
Swank
Barnes.
joined the Cobra Kai side and was like, Mr. Miyagi, he betrayed me.
He was a
Something
fool.
happened in the past. I fell
Miyagi-Do
for his
cost
teachings.
me everything.
Right? Oh man.
Like, what do you mean? What is your life? What do you do?
Well, then
But
we'll
how
have
many-
a whole prequel movie.
Yeah. But realistically, how many more seasons do you think this show could go? How long do you want it to go for?
They said they plotted it for 5. We should say it's been greenlit for a 6. Like, there's no question.
Wow.
5 is going to come out. It's going to go to 6 too. There cannot be.
You
I
gotta
love this show,
call it.
Mike. There cannot be more.
No, I think 6. You gotta call it at 6. We get this weird Miguel side thing, bring him back in the fold, tie everything up in the 6th season. And my guess is we have to end at some point where Terry goes to jail and whatever, blah blah blah, and we end up with some type of Miyagi Kai
The jail
prison.
Right.
Yeah.
for what? What laws has
I think he's
assault
broken
on
some laws.
They
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
they looked up that he did have that history of dumping chemical waste. Like, that's all we could find on him was some chemical
Right.
waste scandal in Borneo.
That's right. I would love that. I
Right.
would love tying that in.
But you gotta get him for manipulation, bribery, assault, whatever. You do it legally because karate cannot solve every problem, and then you end up with
the
some
only thing the
Miyagi
show is that it
Kai.
can.
Yeah,
But I think the only way you can keep it going is if they really expand the younger cast and kind of bring in a new generation, because these kids, they're not getting any younger. It's the it's the under 18 All Valley tournament. Are you telling me these kids are still under 18? I don't know.
From the last season to this season, Jacob, where they go, okay, remember, last season was only a month, so, we're really gearing up for the tournament this time. That was some real Karate Kid 2 to Karate Kid 3 nonsense where I was like, that whole thing took place in a month? That's bullshit.
yep.
Yeah.
They're
You
fast
can't
learners.
take those time shortcuts.
Yeah, I
Not
think
going
in the
forward.
in the 4 seasons so far, like a year and a half has gone
Yeah.
by, basically.
It has to be 2, or
Yeah.
no, 1, because it's just the next. There's only been 2 All Valley
There's only been
tournaments.
2 tournaments,
Right.
so
Right.
It's
each
been
season
1
6
year.
months. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys.
Yeah, you can't,
Eventually,
you can't
they're
keep
going
it
to start
going.
aging out. But if you have Kenny and then you have a new generation that's his age, like you've already, built up Daniel Rulerso's son and the girl that they both like have a crush on, who's like the Allie of their story.
Right.
You can keep it going with that generation, maybe, if you really want to. I don't know. The viewership might drop off. But
For me, I think that the heart of the show is tied to the
Yeah,
original
100%.
senseis and their teachings. So the further removed you get from that, the more it loses its kind of authenticity to the source, and that's what it's been balancing. And balance is what Miyagi taught, right? It's
Balance
so
is key.
important. Balance is key. It's everything. And so right
But
now
if
they're
you-
maintaining it, but if they extend it, I don't think they can.
yeah, but if you really want to keep beating that horse, Walking Dead style, where
Hell
they just
yeah.
keep changing the cast, like, it could go, who knows, 10 more
And-
seasons.
You just need younger
I-
kids that are under 18 for the All Valley
But-
tournament.
Yeah.
100% we are 6 months away from the Miyagi prequel series. They will announce
Oh, no.
something to take care of any waning interest.
I
guess.
can't
I think
remember.
based on the popularity of the show, I think there's got to be some attempt to cash in on.
And beyond that, Jacob, I could see Netflix going, What's anybody doing with what's that stupid show where the car talks and they drive around like
Knight Rider.
assholes? Or thank you, Mike, Knight
Welcome.
Rider. Or
I got all
I was
the
gonna say
points.
Herbie
what's
Fully Loaded.
A-Team up to? Hey, let's bring Herbie back. Like, I could see them grabbing more 80s movies to just turn into TV shows.
They tried Dark Crystal, but that's a little too niche.
I could see, young Miyagi prequel. Stephen Yoon as a young Miyagi. And he got to learn his original lessons
Fisherman.
or whatever.
I can't remember what
Goes
the name
to
of his
war.
old sensei is. Yeah, Goes to War. He did,
Yeah.
because he did that David Inoue thing for Drunk History where they retold the story of the 442nd, the all-Japanese
His fucking
branch of
arm
the
blown
U.S.
off,
military, won more medals of honor than any other unit in U.S. service history. Incredible stuff. And so that's the 442. Thank you for your service. That's what Miyagi served in the show. And imagine that.
Shot many Jerry
Americans, many Jerry Germans, Japanese citizens of the United States who were put into internment camps and had all their stuff taken away, still willing to volunteer, many from Hawaii, to fight the Nazis. That's patriotism, folks.
That's right.
So I could totally see, honestly, I thought it would be a joke to see like a young Miyagi show, but play it the right way. Damn.
It
You
could
could
happen.
further his legacy and make the scene where he talks about his wife dying more impactful when you watch the original Karate Kid if you can play those out. So who knows where they'll go. They shouldn't do more Cobra Kai, I think, after 6, but you can explore the world of kind of Miyagi's younger life. I think that I would be okay with that. Yeah. Okinawa, young Sato, the girl of his young love, and the ice breaking thing has been around for 80 years, some callbacks like that.
Right.
I could get down.
Hey, real quick, because again, I never got to talk about it. When he is in Okinawa and they read that last letter that Mr. Miyagi wrote to his girlfriend there, and it's about how he's in a hospital, not doing better, watching a car commercial, so happy I have a son named Daniel who let me into his life.
Yeah.
Just like fucking, it's like, what the fuck is this? Just fucking like crying my eyes out.
Right.
Seriously. And I mean,
And that's another thing I like about this season is with his son, Daniel's son, has that moment where he's like, "You're always talking about like Mr. Miyagi. Like I never really got to meet him, and I feel like left out because
Bullshit.
Sam was older, so she knew him as a little kid, but
When
he
she
kinda
was like
feels-
3, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but she's been in a karate and everything. So
Yeah.
I think definitely that kid's going to get more like he's going to be more of a big character, and he's going to start doing karate next season as well. And of
That'll
course,
be
him
the whole
and
next
Kenny
season.
will have a rivalry.
him
as
and
well.
Kenny, that's where they're going. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
always-
That'll be the whole thing. We'll be teaching his son finally karate.
Yeah, and Robbie will be like the big brother correctly, maybe. But interesting stuff. But Cobra Kai, man, we love it. We hope you love it. Let's talk final thoughts right after this. It's the final round of the All Valley Under 18 Championship. Countdown. Getting copy striked.
You're the best around.
Nothing's ever gonna take you down.
Who sings the moment of truth in this? Who they get? Carrie Underwood?
Carrie Underwood.
Okay,
Oh,
we
yeah,
need
they're
to
like,
address that. Yeah.
Here's Carrie Underwood to.
And I'm gonna get a
Sing the
huge
intro.
star for the halftime show. Yeah, right, Bob. Remember, we're gonna vote him out on Friday, the old fool.
Yeah,
that whole
right.
subplot, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
But then,
Yeah.
you get Carrie Underwood reprising the classic, it's the moment of truth. It's all on the line.
Amazing.
It's great. It's almost as good
Too
as
much.
waiting all day for Sunday night, but, it'll do.
Well, and they said that's why they got her. They were like, and she does the NFL, and she was a fan of the show. She had tweeted out once,
Sure.
I'm watching Cobra Kai on Netflix. It's great. And William Zabka and Ralph Macchio both tweeted at her like, Carrie, you love the show? That's great. We would love to. And I'm sure immediately talk started. That was like season 2. So
Oh, that's incredible.
wow.
And it's a nice little fourth wall break because that was just on the soundtrack of Karate Kid. And then now it's a song that exists within the universe. And even
Yeah,
when they're talking
right.
about,
Right.
Chicago and Peter Cetera are pretty cool. You're not badass.
Oh my God. So now remember something, Miguel. Yes, there was rock and roll back then, but there was a little something called soft rock too.
Daniel.
Let me tell you, we had some jams. I have never felt white before, but watching that, I was like, Daniel, how dare you do that to our people? How dare you do that?
At least Johnny's got the badass stuff. He's like, we had Chicago and Peter Cetera.
Chicago does not rock.
They don't.
What did you say, Miguel?
Oh man, yeah, taking my son from me. No son of mine is gonna listen to Chicago's
Too much.
Johnny's vibe, I guess. But no, that was great. But we're here in final thoughts.
We've been rambling.
Yep, we've been rambling.
Even more thoughts on karate, on the kids, on the dojo, on the different styles. We're showing off our
my
techniques
microphone.
here.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't do them indoors. Make sure you have enough room around you. I just almost had a disaster. Season 4, I mean, it feels like this whole conversation has just been 70% gushing over Terry and how good the
Yes.
writing is. And that's pretty much summarizes the series. And again, little apprehension for me if it goes 5, 6. I don't think it needs to go beyond.
Yeah.
You need to kind of wrap this thread up and then just leave that part of the universe alone. You know, I mean, it's done its job, and I'm, again, better than it has any right to be. And to bring back the characters and make them feel correct at the stage they are in their lives is a testament to how good the writing is. And hopefully they don't Game of Thrones it. Just don't Game of Thrones it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's really been unexpected because I never thought that of all the, movie franchises or properties that you could really make a going to be 5, maybe 6 season show about it, but they've done it, and it just started as some super fans wanted to make this, I guess, and it almost died a quiet death where really no one watched it on YouTube, but it was
True.
resurrected on Netflix and became a huge hit, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin, what are your kind of final thoughts on this? Any last tidbits for Cobra
Thankful that
Kai?
it survived. I do want to hear you guys' rankings. I want to hear where you think the seasons land. And just to recap on that, the first one's just the straightforward Miguel, Johnny. It ends with them doing their first little run there, right? The second one, everybody learns karate. Kapow, kapow, kapow. To me, that's got the coolest finale ever because it is the fight at the school. Miguel gets crippled, setting up, of course, season 3.
Right.
Miguel is injured. He can no longer be the champion. Other characters arising. And then, like Jacob said, how they sort of write off certain characters, like it seems like Miguel will. Robbie kind of gets the backseat that whole season because he's in jail. He's off shooting a Netflix movie. And then this one's season 4. For me, the first one is so good. The second one escalates in the perfect way. I like the finale of it, but I think I like the first season more. And then that third one, that's of course where Netflix takes over, we should say, for 3 and 4 here. It captures the same spirit. It's not like the quality dips for me. I think, unfortunately, this most recent one is the worst, and I hate saying that because it is our Silver Boy back, and I wouldn't have guessed that. And also, I'm very mad. Ralph Macchio is saying all these things in the news about how much he hates Part 3 and how he thinks it's this huge departure from the franchise and it ruins everything. What does it ruin? What is bad about
I like
it?
Part 3 way more than Part 2, personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Part 2 is fine. It's just a little boring to me in comparison to Part 3, which is just wild and zany, but I think that's
Just
why it kind of perseveres. Yeah.
The original, we said what Mike was pointing out about the whole internment camp stuff. That's a film that, again, I just think should be shown in schools. It's heartfart.
Yeah, that's a movie that
perfectly.
should have been nominated for an Oscar. Honestly,
the only
without
Oscar
even a
nomination was supporting actor. It was for that scene, and they wanted to cut that scene. The producers
again,
thought it slowed
ridiculous.
it down. The only Oscar-worthy scene.
Wow.
Incredible. So yeah, that's how I look at this ranking too. Obviously, Karate Kid 1 is my favorite of the original films. And then the first season of this kind of is closest to that in an inverse way, where you have Johnny as the Miyagi. He lives in the rundown apartment. He meets the kid who needs some guidance, and
It's a great hook, man.
yeah, and he's estranged from his son. It's very similar to Miyagi and Daniel. I love it, right? So that one is great. And then I like anything with silver. So 3 is my next favorite of the original films. And therefore, season 4 is my next favorite of these seasons, even though I like to.
Wow, really?
Because again, the karate is my least favorite part. And when they're doing home invasions or karate in school, I don't like it. And they're just assaulting people.
Just people
wanton
fighting.
assaults in the streets.
Better in the tournament.
I
setting.
like the tournament, and the tournament is more realistic here. So that's where
Mike
I'm
sees
coming
the
from.
honor in
I
karate.
do agree with that.
Yeah, martial arts are for self-defense only, not home invading. They
Yeah,
literally
you guys
throw a
remember,
child through a window.
The whole episode is the school fight. It starts with them doing it, and it moves through the entire school as kids just keep doing karate to each other.
The
It's
best
amazing.
choreography they have had in the entire show.
100%,
That sequence is
100%.
amazing. Yeah,
I do
just
think, it
technically.
escalates to a certain point where it becomes so unbelievable, whereas in the tournament setting it's more believable because like they're actually in a tournament. When it's just like basically two gangs fighting each other like it's West Side Story or something,
Yeah.
or The Outsiders.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a little unbelievable.
Just
Which
nailed
Ralph
it.
Macchio was in.
That's right.
These
Do it
are
for Johnny.
musicals.
Why hasn't he said do it for Johnny yet? When's he
They
going to
called
do it?
They called it, guys.
Season 5.
Yeah.
That's free. That's free, right?
Pony Boy. Yeah, but it's like with the whole school thing, and of course they all get suspended and everything because they would have to be.
You get expelled. You kidding me? That's a soft sentence.
Yeah.
California
If
school
I,
system.
Mike,
am
if
I
I
right?
pushed someone off a railing and they became paralyzed, no, I would be going to jail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my life would be over.
You're
It doesn't
missing
matter
3
what
days of
age I
school
am.
and think about what you've done. Yeah, come on.
And we're gonna check your
Yeah.
backpacks that you don't bring karate to school. Oh, great!
Yeah.
And at
you
that
think-
point, Mrs. LaRusso was the sensible voice of like, hey, none of these kids should be doing karate anymore. Obviously, it's gone way too far.
Yeah.
And now she's just like completely given up on that. It's like, well,
it's
I guess
like,
they're going to do karate.
I am part of a gang.
They're gonna
I am
do it.
actually the Guman to a dong.
Well, you
Yeah.
take the boy out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the boy. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. But for me, it's got to be
Where's
season
Uncle Louie?
1.
God, of course that psychiatrist was a fucking macho. I'll never get over it.
She did good.
But for ranking the seasons,
Yeah.
season 1, I remember when I first watched it, and it was after it came onto Netflix. I was like, all right, I'm finally going to check this out. Very excited.
What
Mike's
is
been
this?
talking about it for 2
I watched it on
years or
YouTube.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got YouTube Red just to watch that, right?
I got the trial, but
You
I
paid
was
for
one
it.
of the 10
Yeah.
people who watched it.
And I put on the first episode of season 1. I was like, man, that was great. I'm going to watch the next one. And I just watched like
And real
half
quick,
the season in one night.
that episode ends. You guys set this up perfectly on the Cobra Kai episode because you don't even bring this up. But the reveal then, as a fan, to watch this whole thing about the struggles of a man who has nothing, who wants to mentor a child, and it ends with the reveal that he has a child who has gone astray. Fucking rules. That is such a good fucking season. That first season.
Incredible.
Right. Yeah, so season
And
1.
then that
the
he
best.
becomes the Karate Kid. So I'll just never get over it. I'll never
Yeah.
get over it. He does
Yeah.
the crane style. It's too much. It's too much.
It's great. Yeah, it's
And
perfect.
and that first tournament run in season 2 is great as well. But I think the tournament in this season is like the best set piece. Like the final 2 episodes where it just and the amount of time they spend on the tournament, I really enjoyed that. And they show
That
kind of the
two-parter
whole
almost.
lead up where all the different players get their moment to kind of shine in the tournament as it goes. That's really good. So overall, I think maybe this season, I don't know. It's hard for me to remember what all happens in like season 2 and season 3, but this might be second best for me. And then season 2, then season 3. I don't know, but they're all pretty good. So it's hard to compare,
I think the technical execution of that school fight would put 2 over 3 for me. But you get the Vietnam stuff in 3, so.
You get the Tom stuff and all the teaching Miguel to walk, I think, is so effective.
Oh,
I think
man.
it's so
that is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, just to echo this one more time before we sign out of here, like that first season of Karate Kid, as Colin's saying, Johnny wants to be a father to a kid because he had a kid and he fucked it up. Meanwhile,
He's
Miyagi wanted to be a father to a kid because he never had a chance to. And they both end up, because their heart is pure, creating a Karate Kid, even though their methods differ. Like, what a great echo. What a great callback.
Yeah.
It's like poetry. They rhyme.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm vindicated. Spider-Man 2, vindicated. I'm selfish. I'm wrong.
You got us into this one.
I knew it all along, right? And I was the YouTube
turns
Red.
out-
The show was made for me, and I'm glad that it turns out that it actually resonates with a lot more people. And I'm glad they're enjoying it. And I'm
Yes.
glad there's going to be more. And thanks for entering the dojo with us, Normies. It's been
I'll never
awesome.
get over it. It's just I was telling my dad, what are you watching? When I saw him for a vacation, a small, safe vacation, I swear, in the time of COVID. It's like a month ago. What are you watching? I said, oh, Cobra Kai, man. It's it's back. Wait, you like that show? I said, I love those shows. One of our biggest. I re-listen all the time to our Karate Kid episode on the podcast because me, Mike, and Jacob are just making each other fucking laugh out of my minds. He said, I've never seen one of those movies. I said, man,
What?
you've never seen The Karate Kid? No, it wouldn't hold up. I said, man. And I told him,
It does.
in history class, you should spend the last Friday before summer, just watching the fucking Karate Kid, man. After you've talked about World War II, it's so fucking important. I'm not kidding.
You should tie that in. And right before summer break, you get to listen to Cruel Summer. You get to see a veteran mentor a kid. It's great.
Allie comes and picks you up in her car.
Man, it's incredible. And I broke down the script for film school. We had to break down a scene. I broke down the scene where Miyagi tends to Daniel's wounds, and it's like you might not remember it, but it's a one take. It's like a 5-minute long take where the camera changes position 3 or 4 times. I broke down that whole scene, not in the locker room, but when he first gets jumped.
Oh, okay.
He's like, got the tea,
gotcha.
drink this and stuff. Like I read the entire script of this. Like I love the movie, and so just the fact that it turned out,
Wow.
I do. And in Japan, it's known as Besto Kido, best kid.
Oh.
'Cause the karate's a little like that's from America. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
But
that doesn't mean anything.
best kid.
I'd be like calling him McDonald's kids here. It's like, you're
So,
like, yeah, sure. Okay.
I wonder if they had to rebrand any of it. This, because Cobra Kai stays the same in the movie, but it's like maybe when people are saying you're the Karate Kid, it doesn't have the same cultural resonance when you're watching it in Japan. You're the best kid. I remember you. Who knows? But yeah, I love it. I love the universe, and I'm happy that it's being treated with the respect it deserves. Yeah, don't sleep on it.
No.
There you go.
And again,
Karate
if we
Kid.
ever get to the point where this podcast is like big enough where we're doing like Patreon content, like doing additive, I'll just throw out. I think the first thing we would ever have to do, because it's so big to the Normies Like Us lore, is some sort of commentary track where the 3 of us watch part 3.
Yes.
And just say like every moment of this is like just what we like. Here's Terry Silver deciding to use a truck because it makes him look more like a workman. And later Ralph Macchio's going to say, hey, nice truck.
Yep. He's appealing to emotion in this scene. Yes.
It's like, it'd be too much. So just Normies, we hope you love the Karate Talk. Again, I feel like there's going to be some of you out there who are like, it is just a big joke. I would never waste my time on Cobra Kai, let alone watch those movies. You'd just be missing out. You'd just be fucking missing out. So, let us know. Hit us up at normies_like_us. Tell us what McDojo you went to while also leaving us a rating, a review, and subscribing along because that helps out the podcast here. And check out the YouTube as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, appreciate you guys, and be safe. Don't do karate in the streets, okay? And I guess, what, are we all representing a different dojo? Is that how we're going to sign out?
Yeah. I'll be Miyagi Do, I guess, and say Colin Do.
All right.
Sign off.
Representing Badass Eagle Fang, it's me, Mikey Lawrence, Sensei Mikey Lawrence. Quiet! Thank you.
Yeah, and this is J Cobra Kai. No mercy. That's my motto.
No mercy.
Yeah, no mercy. All right, no mercy. Take care. Sweep the leg and hit that like button. Catch you next time, normies. Key.
Bye.